All right, it says we're live. Hey guys, I want to welcome you back. This is Big Man Alaska. I'm Big John here at Big Man Alaska. Big guy, whatever you guys want to call me. Just don't call me late for dinner. All right. Anyways, I had court today, and I figured I would make this live stream as I always do, which is extremely random because I'm actually in my PJs right now. I was getting ready for bed. My mind was going 1,000 miles per hour, and I had court today, and I figured I'd get on here and I'd talk about, uh, regular daily life stress and getting through the holidays, unexpected events like people passing away or court dates, for instance. Like in my situation, I had to go to court today. That was something that's been looming for quite some time. It's Alaska. There's a lot of snow on the road. When this traffic violation happened, there was no snow on the road. It was really pristine conditions. And so, yeah, I went to court today. I got all dressed up. You might have seen that community post today that I made. I was going to court, and I was willing to accept whatever consequences came of this. And everything was definitely decided very thoroughly. It was a very fair trial. And I was also able to sit there and watch several other cases before me. And this was definitely by far the most fair judge I have ever experienced in my entire lifetime of being a truck driver or having to go in and out of court. She was very sincere. She gave me my lickings, which I deserved. And after watching the video of what the officer posted, yeah, I couldn't argue. I was guilty of running a red light. That's what happened. And anybody knows, as a truck driver, we have to make split-second decisions. And apparently I had a few more seconds than I thought I had to make a decision. So in her mind, in my mind as well, I agreed with her decision to find me guilty, which cost me right around $250 for the day. So anyways, I've been dispatched tonight to get out and haul some snow at 9 o'clock. So yeah, I got to get back to bed and hopefully get to work later on this evening. But like I said, this is a situation that's been looming over my head since before the snow flew. And I was stressing about it. And as the holidays went by, and I was expecting, to go to court January 4th, which is today. I was extremely stressed for the last 3 days. I had a hard time. Now I've been adding exercise into my routine, and today I haven't done any exercise at all because I just woke up, got dressed, got everything going, and figured out for the day. I thought I might have had a chance at winning this case, but apparently not. The officer showed up, so I lost that part of the lottery, and I won the ability to pay for whatever I did. So we have to take into consideration sometimes we make mistakes, and also the triggers that happen because of these stressful issues sometimes put us right back to the beginning, and we're automatically just going to we're more likely to have unhealthy eating habits at that time. And in some cases this week that has happened. I've had a couple chocolate chip cookies or some oranges, some extra stuff that wasn't exactly on my entire carnivore plane. And I tried to really focus this week, and I started out the week rock solid. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to forget the cheese. We're going to skip all the sauces. We're just going to have meat, salt, and maybe some butter and eggs and stuff like that. That was a great start to the week. I felt the momentum there. And then I kept worrying, and my stomach was all tied up in knots. I wasn't sure what I was going to say, if anything, because you have the right to be silent anytime you go to court. And it just kept making me scurry around the house and want to do unhealthy things. I was looking at more unhealthy options in the last couple of days than I think I have in a long time. So it was a struggle. And in the meantime, I went to court. Everything's done. It's water under the bridge. I paid my dues. I learned my lesson, and I will hopefully never do that again. And the bright side of all of this is we have to take the good with the bad. So the good with the bad in this current situation is I did run a red light. Nobody got killed, and that's the good. Now, if something happened where I ran that red light, even with the police officer not being present, and I wound up T-boning somebody and killing them, I would have to live with that for the rest of my life. And if something horrific like that happened, I would have, yep, you would have seen the big man probably come off of YouTube altogether, just in embarrassment and shame, and with a lot of hurt feelings wrapped around the entire situation, because nobody wants to kill somebody unintentionally. I mean, it could have been anybody, in that situation that could have got creamed. And there was substantial time for me to get stopped completely, even at a commercial vehicle that was empty. So, yeah, I apologize to the world for that. That was piss poor decision making, and I'll do a better job next time. That's all I can do. Now, I do have some options to go and take defensive driving, which kind of hurts me because I'm a trainer, and I've trained people to drive safe for over 2 decades now. So this is really embarrassing for me. So now I'm going to have to be the guy in defensive driving course, and I'm the guy that I trained people in defensive driving for a period of time over my career. So yeah, I'm going to be the guy listening to somebody else teach me the same spiel that I would teach them if they were sitting in my class. So like I said, I got to take the licks as they come, and it's just all part of the process. And making unhealthy decisions in the process has surely hampered my weight loss for this week. Adding in exercise, I'm sure, is going to mess up the numbers, but that's going to be interesting to find out if you guys hang out until this weekend. We'll definitely see what happens there. But in real life situations, when you're emotional about things and you're sad, like say somebody passes away, 9 times out of 10 you're going to do one or two things. You're going to either eat yourself darn near into your own grave because you're eating your emotions at that time, or we're going to starve ourselves and we're going to lose a lot of weight pretty quickly because we're stressed. We're not hungry anymore. We're not feeling good. We don't want to eat because we feel remorse for the person that passed away. We feel sympathy for that person that passed away, and not eating at that time is our punishment. And just like the other side of the flip coin, some people just start eating and they don't stop because they feel like they want to do damage to themselves, because they miss somebody so much, or there was a lot of unfinished business there. It's a hard time when anybody passes away, or even when a family pet passes away. And so far, since I started creating these videos, my cats have become a staple in my videos, however random, and I just let them do what cats do. Now, sometimes they knock over lights, sometimes they're wrecking something in the other room, and a lot of people enjoy the walk down the hall. When the cats get up with me in the morning, I go to the bathroom and I leave my bathroom, and the cats are just sombering down the hall, leading me to the scale every day, especially on Saturdays. Now, my cat Gray Bear likes to wake up in the morning, and that's the cat that typically wakes me up. She's jogs me awake somehow. She usually sits right close to my ear or something, and she just smacks her lip a little bit, and that wakes me up like wide awake. I'm like, okay. I look at the clock. It's about 3:30 in the morning, so that's when I start creating my weekend videos to hopefully help spread awareness of either carnivore or simple weight loss without a whole lot of effort. Because up until this year, the first of the year, I didn't implement any exercises into my routine on purpose. I did some sample exercises here and there just to see how it would go. And, just to kind of get a feel of, all right, what's this going to be like when I get started exercising? And that first video I did about my exercise routine for the start of this new year was humbling for me, just like this court case was today. It was humbling. If I had access to the police officer's video prior to going, I probably would have just paid the ticket. But then again, I have been lucky at times where the officer never showed up. He was on vacation, or he had a family matter and couldn't appear in court. So then automatically, it's worth the extra $20, $30 for paying the court fee at that point, to take that gamble, in my opinion, because that violation would have been completely off my record at that time. So for $30 or $40 and having a 50-50 shot of if he's going to show up or not, yeah, that's some pretty good odds. I mean, that's better than trying to win the lottery, for instance, because there was a lot of times in my career where officers never showed. And yeah, that was nice, but I didn't have money for a lawyer, so I couldn't lawyer up and get anything taken care of. But it's hard trying to lose weight when you're stressed. You have family stress. You have children that are just badgering you all the time. You're just trying to focus on one thing at a time. You're just trying to focus on yourself for a little while and trying to figure out all the mess that you have in your pantry, because almost all of us have a pantry that's just flooded with processed foods. Now, these foods are useful. I wouldn't recommend throwing them away unless you absolutely have to. Now, if you're one of those people that's highly addicted to processed foods or specific foods in general, throw away just those foods and keep all the other type of foods, canned food items, box food items that you wouldn't normally touch because you either don't like them you either don't like them or you just want to not make them because it takes time and preparation for some specific items. For instance, just use those for emergency purposes only. Tsunamis, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes. Alaska, we have severe snowstorms, power outages, and stuff like that. It's just good to be prepared. And if you're not and if you're not eating that type of food, that's fine. Don't eat that type of food, but save that food and give it to a family member, give it to a neighbor, give it to somebody else in the community that might need it, that's going through a similar situation, even if you're stockpiled to the brim with meats and fats and good, yummy stuff. But yeah, it's a good thing. I'm going to take a look at the comment section here. I see a lot of people coming in the room today. Sunshine AK, good afternoon. Hey, thank you for coming in and thank you for joining. Deb Olson, hello, Deb. Lisa, blessed with life. I appreciate you for coming in. I like your content, and we'll talk some more as time goes on. Glad no one was hurt. I am extremely glad no one was hurt. Sunshine, Alaska. Let's see. I'm going to have to skip around to these comments here, so I'm not going to be able to get them all one by one. But I do appreciate everybody that dropped by just randomly. Like I said, these live streams are going to be random until I can find a stable schedule of some sort. And unfortunately, this ticket is probably going to put me out of the running for a job offer I just had with one of the local unions. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to qualify to get in with them, because there was a really good job offer that I'm probably going to be missing out on. Brenda McIntyre, hello up there. Hello, Brenda McIntyre. Let's see, a lot of accidents. Yeah, we've had a lot of accidents this year, and thankfully, with these new countdown timers, now we have these little red flashy hands. They're just flashing, and at the same time, they have a countdown timer. It usually starts from about 10 all the way down to 0, and that's when the light turns yellow. So that gives us a great indicator that light's getting ready to change. Now, some of these timers are a little longer. They might start at like 25 seconds and count down, which is really nice, especially on the faster stretches of Alaskan roadways, because about the last 50 to 100 feet before these traffic lights, that's where it gets slippery. And you have to have your speed broken down well before you get to that in order to stop at all. And if you try to stop too fast in that situation, your trailer slides right over into that lane or right over into that lane. And you could be hitting somebody that's just driving along unaware that they're in a really bad spot in the first place. This is why we try to stagger our vehicles. If you're aware of the situation, we try to stagger the vehicles instead of riding side by side, because sometimes that shoulder just disappears and then all of a sudden their lane comes into my lane. And here in Alaska, we call that a lane and a half. So you could have a normal 2-lane road and then you have a shoulder, and then all of a sudden that snowbank encroaches halfway out into their lane. And then all of a sudden we're pushed together. There's nowhere for us to go because these snowbanks are solid ice, and they do come and remove the snow. The state and city snow haul do this as well, but it just becomes an overall dangerous situation for everything here. Let's see. Help me. Hello from North Idaho. Hello, help me. Thank you for telling me where you're at. I had no idea you may have mentioned it before that you're in North Idaho. Let's see. Hello from Colorado. Again, thank you. Let's see. Miss Straight Up No Chaser. Ooh, I see the pun there. All right. I appreciate you guys that like these videos. I also, appreciate, people saying that I'm an inspiration. That's hard for me to wrap my head around, especially considering where I was 33 to 34 weeks ago. I was in a bad situation. I mean, my weight was over 435. And that 435 was just my guess weight because of the type of scale I had. It was a spring scale, and it was extremely frustrating to use. So this digital scale has been really handy. And if you're going to do any type of weight loss journey of your own, I would recommend trying to buy a reasonably priced digital scale that's able to read your weight, whatever your weight is. Because my problem is I was 435. The average weight scale reads up to about 350 pounds maximum. And that is for an accurate type of weight. So if you're up over 350 pounds, you really need to start researching these better scales. And the scale I purchased was $106 on Amazon. I don't know the brand name. I have mentioned it before, to some people that have asked. I do have the image here at some point if I need to reference it again, but it's not anything fancy. It's a $106 scale. I didn't plan on it even lasting this long. I thought I'd be without a scale at some point because stuff you buy on Amazon is so hit and miss. But this product here just seems to keep on working. I'm sure the plate's fallen down a couple times and the kids have knocked it around, but the accuracy stays pretty close to whatever the scale is at the hospital, within about a pound or two. And when I first got it, it was right on whatever the hospital scale would say. So I'd weigh myself here fully clothed, just like I would weigh myself at the hospital. And I'd make sure at the hospital I was in the exact same attire, just minus the coat, hats, gloves, whatever. And that was right there. So that's fantastic. Let's see who else. Hello from Colorado. Saw you. Hi from England. Oh man, I appreciate you guys. You're awesome. The GD James, hi from England. I rarely catch a live stream from anyone. That's my problem is I want to get on these live streams with people like Carnivore Cures. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'm having brain fog apparently because I got on the crap food this week. A couple cookies did me in, but yeah, a couple chocolate chip cookies. You wouldn't think that it would really do much to you, but psychologically, it kind of messed me up a little bit because now I have to look at you guys and say, hey, I ate a couple chocolate chip cookies this week. That's embarrassing because I've been doing really, really well staying away from stuff like that. Now, the last time that I did eat chocolate chip cookies was earlier on. And that was when my daughter brought home one of my kids, they came back from a school function and there was just a plate of chocolate chip cookies on the table. And I often sit at my kitchen table. That's where I film the most because that's where I'm most comfortable. And the room's kind of interesting. It's got a lot going on. So when I can, change the camera angles and stuff, it gives the viewer something else to look at except for my face, even though some people enjoy looking at my face. I don't know why, but that is what it is. And I appreciate that because I really am. I'm just trying to get out here and help people understand that all the weight loss I did from 435 pounds to get down below 300 pounds was done with just basically going to work. Now, my fasting process is what got me started, the 5-day water fast. And for some reason now I remember the name, Carnivore Cures. That was the channel he talked about wanting to do an interview. And every time that I see that he's getting ready to go live, I don't have time. And I'm guessing he's probably going live like right now. I could have jumped in on his live stream, but unfortunately I need to get through this live stream myself and get it out. And I'll have to catch him on the next time if possible. But I'm extremely new to doing live streams, so this is really hard for me at times because I have to be extremely motivated to get out here and just start talking. And hopefully I don't have a lot of awkward moments and pauses and get way the heck off topic. But wow, my cats are destroying stuff over here. That's what my cats do. Let's see what else. Who else we got here? Hi from Texas. Hey there, Natalie Gist. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate all of you guys. And on my very first live stream, I was super happy with the amount of people that jumped in there. And they were just they were kicking it up in the comment section. They were talking to one another, getting to know each other. Because a lot of these handles here that you see, as far as these names, these people have YouTube channels of their own, and they post videos too. And a lot of them, as many of them as I can, I try to subscribe to them. And if their channel's not very big, I definitely subscribe to them because I like to support the little channels. more than the bigger channels. And I do have a laundry list of bigger channels I do subscribe to, but that's what I want to see come through my YouTube feed. Those are the channels I want to see. I want to, support the small channels because typically their videos are pretty short, and it doesn't take a lot of investment of my time to sit there and watch through their videos. They're not really horribly painful. It's just when the channels are small, they don't get pumped out like bigger channels that are more popular. So if you do have a YouTube channel, just keep making videos. Stop taking these breaks, because I've been on YouTube for over a year now, and my channel didn't start taking off until I ran out of steam for making shopping videos. And those were extremely popular, but they take a lot of work, and they also make me have to be in the store. And what do you do in the store? You buy unhealthy stuff most of the time. And I had to be in the store constantly in order to make those shopping videos. And then I had to be researching recent topics, debatable topics, controversial topics. That was a seller right there, is anytime I was talking about prepping or anything controversial going on. And then the censorship started coming in, because if we started talking about anything that was really going on in the world, that, the big, no, you can't say this takes over. And in a way, I was kind of afraid that was going to happen with the carnivore community, because there was a stir going on. And I hate it when people just try to put a scare in the air, like, oh, you're going to be censored. Oh, your content's going to be pushed down to the bottom of the pile. So far with any carnivore topics or the mention of carnivore, I haven't experienced anything being throttled back. The only time I get throttled back is when I don't do my job. I don't make a good video. I have audio issues. I have image issues. I have glitches in the video that shouldn't be there. So that's when my videos suffer, is when I'm not doing a good job. I didn't do the research. And this goes back to self-accountability, even with food, relationships, life in general. If we can't be self-accountable for ourselves at any given time, we're going to struggle with weight loss. We're going to struggle with fitness. We're going to struggle with our goals throughout the year. And yeah, I set my goals really high. I like to have my bar way, way up high. And I do that for a reason, because I'm realistic at the same time. I try to be realistic with my weight loss goals, and I learn from my failures. I take careful notes. And for most of you that have been following my journey, and you see me go up and down, you see me gain weight, you see me lose weight, I hyperfixate on whatever that situation is for that week. Even if I do good, okay, why did I do good this week? Well, I think I did good because of this. And it's just best guess. It's great for conversation. It's endless topics we can talk about here, because all I have to do is come out here and just tell you exactly what happened this week. There's nothing to be made up. I mean, it's just, you see the weight either on the scale or, in person as you followed the journey. And it's just, there's nothing to fake here. So I just tell you guys exactly what happens as it's happening. And a really large channel reached out to me on the side, and they said, man, you have literally the best weight loss journey I have ever seen, the best documented weight loss journey from start till now. He's like, just keep on going. We might be in touch later. So I don't know if that was an opportunity or what. I'm not going to reach back out to them, because, if they want to take up something, they know my email. They've contacted me, so we'll just figure it out from there. But you are too hard on yourself. You're doing it the best you can. Awesome, Jill Steen. I appreciate that. Let's talk about that a little bit. Being too hard on myself. I am hard on myself, and I'm hard on myself for a reason, because I'm one of those people that I don't learn from easy. You can give me the easy way. Like here last week when I made the exercise video, I had a lot of comments in there, and all of a sudden there was a lot of comments coming in about don't lift those 55 or 50, whatever, 52.5 pound dumbbell, 51, I don't know. But yeah, they're about 50-pound dumbbells. Anyhow, long story short, I got a lot of comments about that because I was struggling. But now we have to keep in mind that I was struggling for a reason. I just got done struggling doing push-ups in here. It was about as real time as we could get. I didn't edit hardly anything in that video, just a couple little pieces here and there. And then I was immediately into my kitchen with the weights. And I started working with the weights only after about 2 or 3 minutes of trying to take a breath from the push-ups and getting a glass of water. Now, when I started lifting those weights, my arms were already they were pretty much spent. I used up what energy I had in there. So I started curling those weights. I was lucky to do 5 of those curls with about approximately a 50-pound dumbbell on each arm. So 5 on this arm, 5 on this arm. And I struggled. I struggled with my strong arm, which was really humbling. I was like, wow, I am struggling with my strong arm. But then again, I just did push-ups, so I have to be reasonable. Well, like I said, and then as soon as these people were saying that, don't do this, don't do that, please don't lift so much, that automatically makes me want to break the rules right there, because now I see somebody saying you shouldn't do this. So throughout the process of the next following days, I was pumping out 12 at a time, and then I was doing that a couple times a day, and just to see what I could do. I'm pushing myself at that time. And that's me being hard on myself, is seeing what my limits are. And I'm working to failure at times. And it's, there's a lot of issues going on there. I mean, I think I'm going to save the question I had for my weekend video when I get time to get that one up, because I did have an important question to ask revolving around weightlifting and carnivore and stuff like that. And I've taken a lot of time and consideration to dig into other carnivores that are actually bodybuilding, because I'm not looking to get like super chiseled out, but I am trying to have, I love looking at myself in the mirror when I have that kind of A-frame figure, just look kind of like a triangle. I like that, the smaller behind, and that's going to take some work too, working on my behind, because I'm going to have to do a lot of squats. I'm going to have to get back on an elliptical. At minimum, I'll have to get back on my mountain bike and start pedaling like no tomorrow. I'm going to have to get out there, and I move quickly when I do these things. So like when I started doing push-ups, I was barely pushing any out. I didn't want to do any more for the rest of the day after that video. And I don't think I did. I haven't done any exercises today just because of my schedule is compromised, because I had to wake up and go to court. And now I have to go to work tonight. So I'm going to take today off from exercising, and we're going to move on to exercises tomorrow. When I have better focus, my mind's going to be a bit clear. The trauma of, and it's not really a super big trauma of going to court and, being schooled and talked to like I was a child. But the judge you could tell she was a mother. She was possibly a grandmother. And the look in her eyes, her gaze, and it wasn't like a snarky gaze, like you better, kid, don't be screwing up. But she sincerely cared about me and the public. And by far, she was the most respectful judge to everybody's situation today that I have ever witnessed in my entire lifetime going in and out of a courtroom. It was just the most fair. She wasn't out to just convict people. You know what I'm talking about? Because some people are. Some police officers are. They're just out to just make numbers and make themselves look better. And I'm sorry if that officer ever watches this video, but you made yourself look ridiculous in the first couple of cases I witnessed. It was just embarrassing. I felt sorry for him. I'm empathetic for, people in their struggles. And I was just like, man, you poor guy. So he got the thumbs up from me. He got my conviction in there. So even if that's the only one he gets today, he can at least go home to his wife and say, well, yeah, I did something. I mean, which is better than nothing in some cases. But all right, let's take another look at the comments here and see what's going on. Let's see, Justine, you're too hard on yourself. Okay, Rebecca, MC Taggart. I don't have my glasses on. I'm having a hard time reading that. Great job. We have to do our own plan for what works best for each of us. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Rebecca. I love to be able to give shout outs to people as they come in. That was one of the main things for me with live streams, is I have a hard time rewatching a live stream after it's already happened, because it's really hard for me to want to make a comment on the live stream after it's already been played, because I like to have that personal interaction that you can get while the live stream's going on, because you can make a comment here, ask me a question right now, and I can try to answer it the best I can. That's why I really wanted to start getting into live streams. I'm not just out here just to watch myself on camera and just say a bunch of nonsense. I like the community here. These people are fantastic. The people that put up other YouTube videos around carnivore, we all get along great. I mean, once in a while, I might say something in a comment that gets deleted, but that's me. I'm sorry if you're one of those that I've done that to, and you've had to remove one of my comments, because I do occasionally get off the rails. Dr. Chafee is a good channel to watch. I watched Dr. Chafee video yesterday, several of them actually, because one of them had to do with lifting weights and carnivore specifically, because that was a question I had. So when I have a question, that's literally all I do is I just find a search engine. I don't care if it's Brave or Google or YouTube. I'll just type in my exact question. Typically, I'll hit the little microphone and I'll just say what I'm thinking, and then YouTube or whatever search engine just pops these ideas up, and that way it just saves me from misspelling and getting a video from some foreign place that I don't know what it is. Jill Stein, do you do any fasting? Okay, Jill, doing fasting. Now, like I said, when I first started my weight loss, it was all about fasting. I did several months of fasting, I think. And I realized over a period of time after I did my DOT physical that fasting wasn't sustainable long term. So I had to come up with something else. And this is when carnivore started coming into my situation, because I was bouncing these ideas off a lot of friends and people I knew, other people that were losing weight. And it was something I didn't want to get into. Quite frankly, I didn't want to do carnivore. I didn't want the label carnivore to be hovering over my head. I find it extremely beneficial, but I had a lot of problems with trying to start carnivore because it was one of those things. It was just like fasting. I would have had problems with fasting if I didn't spend the extra time to research everything, like as thoroughly as I could before I got started. I would have done a fast and then I would have failed because I didn't know enough about fasting. I didn't know why it worked. So once I had all the basics down for fasting principles, 5-day water fast, for instance, my third day of that was like a miracle. That's when everything happened for me. That's when I lost a lot of weight. I didn't weigh myself until the next Saturday, but I lost 30 pounds doing a 5-day water fast. A lot of that was water. And then after that, I proceeded on into 24-hour fasting. I was doing intermittent fasting. And then I learned that I could manipulate my body's length in ketosis just by eating at specific times. And my favorite meal of the day was, as I started eating, I would normally eat on a 24-hour fast. And this is just my regular everyday type of routine for working day shift. Night shift, everything's all messed up. So when I'm working day shift, the regular day shift schedule, I would normally just eat dinner. I would skip breakfast. I'd skip lunch. I'd skip all the snacks throughout the day. I'd just focus on water. And water was the main thing at that time. And then I would just eat dinner. So when I learned how to lose weight while I was sleeping, this was super incredible. It was super powerful. And, the amount of weight that comes off while you're in bed is just astonishing. I mean, you're losing pounds of weight while you're in bed. A lot of that's water weight, but if you're in ketosis, you're in bed losing fat as well. So you're losing water weight plus the fat, which is awesome because you're just laying there doing nothing and your body's in ketosis. And I just fell in love with that idea. This is why I started, really starting to pump up these videos more, because that's awesome. Who doesn't want to lose weight when they're in bed? I mean, you're asleep, you're losing weight. You're not at the gym. You're not struggling on a job site somewhere. You're not sweating to no end, even though sweating is extremely important. And I'm starting to sweat now. But yeah, that was awesome. So I took my dinner time. I moved the window back to only eating lunch for about a day and a half. And then I would move the window back again to only eating breakfast. That gave me all that time throughout the day. I'm fasting. And then I would go to bed and gain all that extra time until next breakfast. So the majority of my fasting time was literally wrapped around me and being in bed and not so much being miserable throughout the day. And if you're miserable when you're doing a fast, that's not going to help the fast work. So this is why having the mental preparation in place, like, okay, this is when I'm going to eat and this is when I'm not going to eat. Having the schedule is super important to making a fast work correctly. I mean, and doing a lot of prayer or mental thought, however you want to put it, religious or not, the mental preparation is super important. And it makes the fast work for you instead of you working for the fasting process. Okay, let's see. Hi from Norway. Oh my goodness, I appreciate you. Yes, another 90-10% person. Yeah, I totally rock that. I love that idea. And the reason I love 90-10 is because it is carnivore. I don't care what people say. It's carnivore, but you're leaving realistic room for expectations in there because we're going to make mistakes at times. Like even some of the strictest carnivores I have known, when we have a chance to honestly just sit down one on one or have a talk, an honest talk off to the side away from their viewers. That's when they tend to be more honest at times. And they'll be like, hey, yeah, well, I kind of messed up here last week and I did such and such, which is totally cool. It'd be cooler if they would just tell their audience that, in my opinion. It's like, dude, don't hide that stuff. Somebody's going to catch you eating a freaking cupcake. And then you're going to be blasted all over the internet for doing something you said you weren't doing. And that's just, why would you want to be embarrassed like that online? I mean, I can embarrass myself right here, without having somebody come in and, find me somewhere in public out here, eating a freaking cheese Danish while I'm on the job. That's scary enough. And this is why I promote honesty about the whole process to everybody that I come across. And yeah, I have a problem with smoking cigarettes. I have a problem with vaping products. I have an addiction to nicotine. And it's really not much different than my addiction to carbs. It's not much different than my addiction to sugars and stuff like that, or unhealthy treats. And the funny thing is when I started carnivore, a lot of my food addictions changed. They changed to fruits. They changed to certain vegetables. It was eye-opening. I mean, it blew me away. I was fascinated by it all. And that was when I reached out to Old Guy Carnivore, for instance. And I asked him on his channel, and he quickly responded. He said, yeah, man, it's like the first 3 months or so, he had vegetable cravings too. And he assured me, he's like, well, these things go away in time. And I thoroughly agree with the man. I mean, he doesn't get enough attention as far as I'm concerned. That guy is really helpful for the community. And if you have time to actually get a comment through to him that he's going to respond back, he will respond as a sincere person because he cares. He cares about the community. He cares about the people, just like I do. I care about people, and I want to see everybody succeed no matter what they're doing. I mean, even the vegans. I mean, I feel for the vegans too. I want them to succeed with whatever they're doing, and I don't want to see anybody suffer and become vitamin deficient in any way, because vitamin deficiency is horrifying. Because once it starts happening, you're actually starting to do as much damage as a lot of these prescription drugs. So trying to cover all your bases before you get started is extremely helpful. And I just had somebody ask me, what are you taking? What are your vitamins and nutrients? And I listed off everything. It wasn't extremely hard to, but and part of that was, I had to emphasize, liver, sardines. Never, ever underestimate the power of an egg. Those eggs are super powerful. And then butter. I mean, those are not necessarily in a pill capsule, but they're super healthy for your overall goals. And this weekend, I do have a couple extra things that I added into my routine that I wanted to go over with everybody, because I believe it's important, because I have digestion issues. And I know there's a lot of people out there that suffer from digestion issues, especially transitioning into carnivore, because it's a hard transition. It's not like anything else that I've ever tried in my life, because it was actually easy for me to do vegan and vegetarian for a little while, and I didn't stick with it very long. I think it was only a solid 6-7 months when I went that way. But I was absolute miserable cow. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. I was a miserable cow. I was hormonal. I was angry. I was always craving stuff, super craving everything. Didn't matter what it was. I wanted something other than vegetables. And I tried all these different options, from chickpeas to all these different beans and lentils and you name it. And it was just hard. And then the same thing with keto. I started working with keto principles shortly after I figured out that, okay, fasting wasn't going to be super sustainable for me, because I still like food. I like to eat. I have a food addiction that wants to just continuously eat food. So I just went and down the keto road for a little while. And then I kept hitting these brick walls, like one after the other, where it was either it said keto on the label, and this is a lot of pre-made products, again, processed foods. So I was finding a lot of potato starch, potatoes and stuff like that in these keto products that weren't working with what I was trying to do. They had enough sugar content in there from the carbohydrates and stuff like that that it wasn't keeping me in ketosis. So I was like, why does this even say keto on the label? I mean, and then not to mention the fiber content from the cellulose. It's like I didn't ask for wood pulp to be put in my ingredient list. And yeah, man, reading ingredients has been the deciding factor when it comes to foods. And I've been preaching to my family, and we had about a 3-hour talk, me, my wife, and my son. We were all talking about health and nutrition and how we can wreck our day with the first thing we do in the day. And then we just deleted all opportunities throughout the day for weight loss, especially if you're going to lay down in a horizontal position and just play on your phone. That's what most of us do. We just, like, I'll sit here at a table and you'll see me typing away, or I'll be playing my little video games or trying to catch up on YouTube comments. But that takes me away from exercising. That takes me away from doing my household chores. That takes me away from movement. So I have to limit my time on this silly device. And I try to be responsible, especially lately, because, I have implemented exercise now. So trying to cut down on the screen time has definitely improved my movements and stuff like that. It allows me extra time to exercise. And you don't have to exercise for like an hour, 2 hours. I mean, 5-10 minutes at a time. You can break it up throughout the day. Like first thing in the morning, I'll do as many push-ups as I can. I'll take a short break. I'll drink some coffee, get my electrolytes in me for the day, take care of my vitamins, just take care of myself, which is what we need to do. Is you just need to take care of ourselves. And then we start moving on. And then we start, maybe take a break, play with this for a little while, but not too long. And then you just set it down. That's when I go grab my weights. And then I'll hit those weights as many times as I can until I'm all gassed out. And then I might need to readjust everything again, drink some more water, go do something else. Because by that time, my arms aren't strong enough to hold this up, which is funny. I mean, it's really funny. Let me take a look at these comments again, see who's coming in. We got a lot of longer comments right now. Okay. Glenn Moore's loose skin. I understand that intermittent fasting may work. I did that and it seems to work. I am a male, 5'7", 180 pounds, now around 130 pounds. My loose skin is going away. That's fabulous. If you figured out how to make your loose skin go away, that is a concern I have. But I'm really not that concerned about the loose skin. I did get really stretched out when I got over 435 pounds. And so I have stretch marks. I have unwanted signs that, I screwed up. I made that mistake. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to go out and get a surgery to get excess skin removed. And if you do, that's up to you. And that's 100% up to you. But God gave me, this is just my opinion for my body. I'm not worried about what you're doing with yours. I just want to keep whatever I have intact, that, whatever God gave me is what I'm going to wear proudly with a badge. So if my stomach gets all messed up and it starts drooping and it looks absolutely ridiculous, that's just a badge of honor. It's like a pregnant woman's stretch marks. The same thing there. That's your badge of honor. That's what says that you had a baby. You went through something and your body recovered. So don't worry about the stretch marks, in my opinion. Don't worry about the loose skin, the excess skin. If it goes away naturally, you're awesome. Share that with people. If you figured out a way, if you figured out why your loose skin went away, that's super important. That's something worth sharing. I mean, that's something I would talk about if I figured it out. I would definitely want to talk and tell people, because there's so many people that get to a certain set point and they're just looking at themselves and they're like, I don't like all this excess skin. It makes me feel more insecure than when I was fat. And that tends to make them go back to being fat again and making unhealthy choices, because, they're just scared of losing the weight. And it's like some of the women that I talk to, and I've talked to a lot of them about lifting weights and stuff like that over the years, not just throughout the weight loss process that we're going through now, but other women throughout my life have been really worried about becoming super bulky and muscular and having these big giant python arms. And you have to do specific things to make that specific thing happen. Even I do. Now, if I want to really, bulk up and get these pectorals just sticking out like that, I need a lot of calories. I'm going to need more calories than meat can provide, than meat and natural fats can provide. I'm going to have to add in some carbohydrates. I'm just going to have to add in some high calorie type fats, just to make certain muscular structures do things. And then I'm going to have to overwork those structures for months. I mean, just focusing on a full body workout is hard enough, let alone trying to get specific areas to puff up like a balloon and look a certain way. Now, my biceps tend to get bigger because I feel good when I'm lifting that much weight. It makes me feel joy. It releases dopamine. I would be more happy just to lift dumbbells and just sit there and curl. And I need to go out and purchase a curling bar with a series of different, weights on them. That way I can start working on just natural curl motions like that, and really start toning this area right here in my bicep, because I just like the way that looks. I like the way it feels. My wife enjoys me having extremely muscular arms, and she likes hanging off them, and she just loves that. But all right, let's see who's in here. My skin has tightened up. Awesome. Natalie Gist. I appreciate you saying that. If you figured out the secret, again, let me know, how that works, because I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure there's some information out there on trying to figure out how to get the excess skin to tighten up naturally. But I don't know if that's a myth or if it's actually proven to work. And I have looked at a couple videos that talked about how to mitigate the excess skin and what type of vitamins and stuff to think about that just helps with the elasticity. But I think once you get beyond a certain point, it's not going to return. Now, the last time I was overweight, I got up to about 380, and then I lost a lot of weight. But I was lucky at that point. I didn't have any excess skin. I didn't have excess stretch marks until this last time where I got 435. I don't want to go back to this again. This is why I'm going to start creating more of these videos to hopefully help keep me on track. And if I'm not on track, it's hard for me to share with others exactly what happened that keeps me on track, because that's all I really want to do is like, hey, figure out how I can talk to people better, and they can understand the words I'm saying that come out of my mouth. Because before when I was at 435, I had a hard time just speaking, and it used to bug me. My wife could never understand me. We fought. We were fighting all the time, and she didn't like hearing me speak, because the words that were coming out of my mouth were just, I'd have a really good solid statement, and then I'd be like, and then I forget what I was going to say because I had no thought process up to that point. And now at least I can hold a, coherent statement, for a little bit. And I can hold these conversations on these live streams now, which is really, really blows me away. Just add more meats and fats. Okay. So that's a theory. I would like to see if that works. And if it's worked for others, I'd like to hear about it as well. But it's definitely something I was, planning on cruising down that avenue, seeing where that road takes me. Now, the problem is when I start researching things, it tends to branch off in 12 different directions. So like say, if I look into the excess skin situation, it might lead me down a total different area, towards kidneys or liver or toenail fungus, or you just never know where the road's going to take you. And that's the rabbit holes that I talk about, because sometimes I just get onto something and then all of a sudden I'm into 12 different other things. And this is where my thoughts get all jumbled up, because I'm trying to focus on just this one thing, but I'm being offered all these opportunities for all this other information that's off the rails, even though it's interesting. Okay. Natalie Guest. How many people we still got on here? It says 30. No way. There's not 30 people viewing right now, is there? I don't see 30 likes up there. You got to like the video, man. If you're going to be watching, just hit the little button over there. It's right here. Hit the like button. If you could, please, at least once. That'd be nice. You can take your like back if you want. It's all fun and games here. But I'm pretty well gassed out, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to get out here and talk to all of you, because it's just one of those things that helps me sleep, because I'm in my pajamas. I'm getting ready to go lay down with my cats and get a couple hours sleep before I have to get up tonight and go haul some snow, because that's what I do here in Alaska is I haul snow, I haul gravel. I would love to get out of the truck altogether and do other things, but yeah, we got to see where this road's going to take us. We got to see how much better my health can get and what kind of job opportunities might open up as a result of it. But as of right now, just because of my weight loss and my ability to share these videos and talk to people, I've had a numerous amount of doors open up to me. I mean, I could go in many different directions at this point. I even talked to my doctor at the hospital. I said, what do we have, as far as getting like health certificates or health training and stuff like that? And we do have some options at the Alaska Native Center, but they don't offer certificates. So, and I was looking at, because if I really, really want to stay hyper-focused on health and nutrition and share the value of these things that I learn, I need to keep learning. And this is what's really keeping me on track and what has gotten me to this point right now. It's learning things. It's creating the neural pathways in your brain, making your brain work. And the same thing works for people with Alzheimer's, people that have, cognitive issues and stuff like that. This is why they have a lot of the elderly doing puzzles, because it's making their cogs work. There's a process and elimination going on there when they're picking up puzzle pieces that don't fit versus the satisfaction of when they find random puzzle pieces that just keep fitting the puzzle. That releases dopamine, and it's a really healthy situation. So their mind's constantly working. Same thing goes with us. We're just not at that point yet that we need to worry about it as much. But if we start worrying about it now, it shouldn't be as much of an issue when we get to that point, in these age groups, because this channel here has a really large number of people in their 60s and 70s. Some of them are in their 80s. I think that's the oldest that I've had that they've actually mentioned their age. And I'm not worried about the age, but I find it interesting that you're finding all these benefits with carnivore in those age groups, and you're finding tremendous benefits. A lot of you are coming off of your medications. A lot of you are finding more complicated movements, stooping, bending over, climbing upstairs. Some even climb ladders, and they're in their 80s. That's amazing. I'm impressed, because there was a period of time there where I was scared of my ladder. I was scared of the stairs. I don't want to be scared of my stairs. Sometimes I might have to go up top here and shovel the roof, and I don't want to be cascading through the roof and falling down into my living room because I'm too heavy for the roof. Because all that snow up there's a lot of weight at times, and we do have to take care and get the snow and ice off the roof. But it's just all part of living in a snowy climate. Let's see, the GD James, I think that's GD. Yeah, that goes back 8 months. That's weird. Okay, I would do isometric contractions while in the truck. Yes, that's a good one. So when I'm driving my truck, so basically what I was doing to set myself up to my initial exercises for the year is I was sitting in my truck, steering wheel in hand, and I was just sucking in my gut. And here we go. I was sucking in my gut, and I would hold it for as long as I possibly could. And then I would just relax it for a little bit. And then a few traffic lights later, I would do the same thing. I just suck in my gut. And just doing that alone is getting your midsection set up for doing stuff hopefully soon. That way, when you do get out and start doing push-ups, it's not as hard. And right now I'm doing push-ups off of my knees. I'm doing assisted push-ups. I'm doing assisted planks. And so far it feels like it's working. It feels good. It hurts. Yeah, but it's not a bad hurt. It's not like I'm tearing muscles or ripping things out, but it's a slow process. And if I stop doing it, it's going to be an even longer process. So I need to keep it up. I need to keep the movement going and stuff like that. All right, guys, we're rolling up on an hour, and I only have a few hours to take a nap. So I'm going to take another look here at the comments, see what else has popped in there. Okay, 36 people. Jill Steen, thank you for that. Oh, it says 42 people in the stream. Man, it makes me not want to go to bed now. You guys are killing me. But yeah, if you have the ability to, if you're on your mobile device and you can jump into the chat here, just let us know you're here and say where you're from. I love hearing when people are from other countries other than the United States, or even if you're from random states throughout the United States. I love to hear stuff like that. I've had people from China, Kenya, places I can't even pronounce. I'd be embarrassed if somebody posted that right now. I'd try to pronounce it and botch it all up. But there's so many places in this world that this channel reaches, and I just never know about it because people just don't type it out. Either that or they don't know how to do it or whatever. But it's just super helpful because you will be building muscle, which will make you gain weight. I'm totally prepared for a weight gain this week. Now, like I said, I had a stressful situation. I added in some carbs. I added in a couple chocolate chip cookies, which was utter junk. But it made me feel pretty good. I didn't beat myself up over it. I was like, well, it's only a couple, and it's only one day. We're just going to keep moving on. Now, since I am moving more and I'm exercising more, those added ingredients, the extra nonsense is actually being used. It's going to go somewhere. So the weight gain is probably going to, pack on a little bit. We'll see what happens. The stress of the court date this week is going to be a factor as well. Water retention, if that's going to be a thing. Overall fat gain shouldn't be any overall fat gain because, like I said, I'm definitely strict at least on the 90% meats and fats. So when I came home today, I ate steak and I ate some sandwich meat. I'm not eating cheese anymore. I'm not putting the sauces on there like I was. I was thinking about mixing up figuring out some mustard options, because mustard is typically one of the safer options out there as far as sauces go. But I'm really trying to just wean away from other options like that and be more strict overall, with this carnivore journey, because I keep hearing all these amazing stories like, hey man, just go 100%, just go 100%. This will happen. That'll happen. You'll be amazed. Just do it. But when you're having weird digestion issues going on and you have what seems to be a slow GI tract going on, it makes it extremely frustrating, and it creates anxiety. Anxiety creates stress. Stress creates water retention. It creates other issues going on. It creates a slow moving metabolism at that point. So even if you are in ketosis, it's kind of botching up the works, if you know what I mean. So I just being realistic. I mean, I'm not trying to get down to 235 in record time at this point. I'm just trying to get healthy one day at a time. And that's all I can ask of anybody that's on a weight loss journey, is when we screw up, it's okay. Just make note of it. Move on to the next part of the journey, because if you don't keep returning to the journey, the journey is over at that point. You're going to have to restart the journey some other day in the far off future. And it usually takes many years. Somebody put up a post, I believe it might've been DC Learning today, put up a post, and it was talking about, there's a community tab post you might find in your feed. If you're subscribed to DC Learning, you'll know what I'm talking about here. But he put up a post, and in one of his comments on that post said, when will people wake up? And my response to that is, when they have a near-death experience. That's when people wake up. That's when reality slaps you in the face, like whack. That's what happened to me, for instance. And I'm talking from experience. When would I wake up? How would you get all of this information to start clicking in my brain and me taking it seriously? Because this is a conversation I had with my doctor, because he knew that I was doing this stuff and he knew that I was doing these YouTube videos. And we just sat down and I said, hey, sir, how can I better connect with these people? And his advice in a roundabout way was just be sincere and honest. That's the quickest way to communicate with any of your peoples, whoever they are. I don't care what platform you're doing or what type of videos you're doing or what you're doing in real life. For instance, if you want people to understand you, you have to be honest, and you have to just tell them the ins and outs, the goods and bads. We talk about poop a lot here, because poop is an incredibly important aspect to losing weight. And I do have a little thing I'm going to add this weekend about poop, because something something's changed and it's changed for the better. And I'm kind of excited about that, but I don't want to just spoil it all here right now. Even though most people aren't going to watch this live stream after it's been posted. Eating meat doesn't make people rich. That's a great one, Jill Steen. No, eating meat does not. And I'm finding out it doesn't make me poor as well, because the meat is expensive. Yes, it's expensive pretty much everywhere. It's expensive here in Alaska, but the meat prices here correlate with the environment, the availability of it, and also the shipping processes, and the amount of time and effort it takes to get here. So that price needs to be recuperated in order to sell it viably on the market up here. Now, we do have a lot of wild meat and wild fish and stuff. Yeah, we go out there, we utilize that up here, and a lot of us have freezers full of that stuff. But I used to use that as one of my excuses not to lose weight, was the meat prices. And I used to use that as a reason not to lose weight when I was eating a lot of vegetables. I was like, man, vegetables cost too much. And then we wind up throwing half of them away, which we all know is true. Okay. I mean, unless you're like 100%, strict vegan vegetarian, you got your system figured out. You know how much to buy and how long it's going to last and how you're going to get through those vegetables. Same goes with the meat. We have the same things going on here. Preservation is key. So either we're going to dry it and we're going to turn it into something like beef jerky to make it last a little longer and make it a good, healthy snack option, or we're going to put it in a freezer. We're going to section it up. We're going to buy it in bulk because you get meat cheaper when you buy it in bulk. But eating healthier has saved me thousands of dollars throughout this weight loss journey. Fasting saved me a lot of money because I wasn't eating because it was a fast. So I only ate when I was out of the fast. And then when I came out of the fast, I wasn't diving into just tons of unhealthy, expensive options. I'd be eating something like an avocado to transition my gut back into food. And that's for the extreme fast. Now, 24-hour fasting, I didn't worry too much about how to transition in or out of those. Intermittent fasting wasn't nearly as big of a deal. But if you're going to do a several-day fast, it's important to come out gently. So, yeah, you're not going to want to go out and get a pizza after a 3-day water fast. That's just not going to be pretty for the next 24 hours because your butt's going to disagree with you every part of that because you don't have enough bile in there to digest the food. So it's just going to flush it right out in an embarrassing mess. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't come up your backside when it comes out. Let's see. Mac Thompson. Yep. Got a menu plan and buy according to menu so food doesn't go to waste. That's awesome. Good idea, Mac Thompson. Yeah. Having a menu plan is great, but it's not always sustainable for everybody because not everybody is that organized. I'm not that organized. So my grocery shopping is what I'm craving for that week. So when I started the fasting process, one of my cravings was reindeer sausage, and that stayed in my eat every week list. As far as grocery items were concerned, I've kind of stretched away from them a little bit, but that's just because I got tired of them. Reindeer sausage is incredibly healthy. There's a lot of stuff in it. There's some stuff in it that's iffy, but overall, I was losing a lot of weight. I was losing a lot of weight eating reindeer sausage. So that's just what I stuck with because when I find something that works and I'm not bored with it at that point, I just continue to use what keeps working. Like I said to other people, I can look forward to eating the same meal every single night. And that could be anything. That could be chuck roast for, 2-3 weeks. I'd be eating chuck roast. And then here lately, it's been 80-20 burger patties. The ones we get at Costco, the grass-fed ones, they're pretty darn good. We did buy some Angus burgers that were pre-cooked. That was a bad idea. Not enough fat content in those. They were really lean. So I had to doctor them up with a lot of butter and extras and stuff like that. So, all right, reindeer fat too. So on the screen here, you guys might not know this, but when I look down here at the comments on a laptop, so it's got this little heart. It covers part of the sentence, so I can't see it until the next person comments, and that actually comes up. So I can't read that entirely. Reindeer sausage. Oh man, I'm jealous. Best I can get down here in North Dakota is bison, elk, and venison. Poof, I miss the bison. I miss the elk. I miss the venison. Well, not so much the venison, because if you screw up processing venison, it's super gamey, and you might as well be eating squirrel meat at that time. And if you eat wild meat, you know what I'm talking about. When the meat gets gamey, it's edible, but it's not the greatest. And especially if you have a kill shot on the and accidentally get the wrong part of the animal, it just taints the meat and everything just tastes funny, and you might as well grind it up in the dog food. But yeah, all right. Reindeer fat too is good. Yes, it's very good. Um, Now, there have been native Alaskans here in Alaska that have been found on the tundra with a full belly of caribou, reindeer, same animal. But you get my point. There's not a whole lot of nutritional value in the animal when you're just considering the meat itself. So, in order to get the nutrition out of a reindeer, caribou, you need the organs. You need the liver. You need the heart. You need to mix that up within the meat, or else you could have a full stomach of meat and potentially starve because there's not a whole lot of fat content in these animals. It's a lot of lean meat. So if you can get the fattier type content with the organ meats added in, that's how you survive up here. You don't just eat the leg or the back strap. You have to add in other parts of the animal in order to survive in some cases. And if you don't have that knowledge, you're just gonna like take off a leg and we're going to eat the meat off the leg, but we're going to forget about everything else because we just want to eat the meat on the leg, and that's not going to do your body any good. So organ meats are incredibly important, especially in the carnivore diet. Liver, for instance, I eat liver once in a while. I've kind of gotten away from that because I've been finding a lot of the nutritional value of eggs and sardines to fill the void. And I've been looking into liver capsules. I haven't figured out which ones I'm thinking about buying. And I am not an advocate of run out and buy this and run out and buy that, because especially when it comes to, pills and vitamins and special nutrients and protein powders, I'm not into all that. I don't promote that. I promote weight loss with, on a budget. Because most of us here, we're on a budget and we're watching our savings account dwindle every month. Just with the rising cost of things. Here lately, the fuel prices went down here in Alaska. I think in some areas it's stuck around $3.50. If I go to Costco, I think it's closer to like $3.24 or something like that, which is fabulous because we need that extra money. We got the next 2 to 3 months to get through before we can get back to fishing and doing all the fun harvesting of some of these local animals we have here. Let's see, who else we got in here? I'm Alaskan Native, Eskimo, Inupiaq. We eat all edible meat from the animals. Yep, that's a true fact. We eat as much as possible. We try to preserve as what we can. What's not reasonable to preserve, we eat it pretty quickly, is what we usually do. We try not to let any part of the animal go to waste. If there's usable bones, if there's usable pelts, we'll do our best to preserve them, even though not all of us have that skill, but we're still going to try. My wife and son got a rabbit here just before the end of the season, and they spent a lot of time preserving it. And what a great way to use that useless Morton salt. They used a whole bunch of that, and we had a bunch of it saved up from our prepping pantry, where people were like, "Oh, you need to go buy salt. Salt's in short supply." So we went out and we bought a whole bunch of salt, and then we find out later on down the road, like, within the last 3 weeks, I found out that, that's not exactly the salt you want. You want like the Celtic sea salt, the Himalayan pink salt, Redmond salt. Naturally mined minerals is where you're going to get the most health benefits. And that Morton's table salt, some of it's iodized, some of it's not, and it's just not the best salt to use for electrolytes. So yeah, we're using that now to dehydrate the pelts of the animals and preserve that. We have a rabbit pelt here, and it didn't do too well. It's losing a lot of hair. There's some part of the process we might have messed up, but it's good practice. Like I said, even if we don't use it correctly, we're trying to do something with all parts of the animal. And the rabbit feet on the wild rabbits up here, they don't look anything like a like a regular rabbit. They got these really big, like 3 toes and almost alien-like, and they're really long, and that's what launches them ahead in the snow. Hello there, meet and marriage. Oh, I know you. Okay, awesome. Hey, thanks for joining us. Mac Thompson. Yes, Mac. Awesome. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you very much. Guys, I do need to cut this pretty close. It breaks my heart. I'm seeing 38 people here up on the screen. Now I'm seeing 42 people up here on the screen, and it's making me not want to go back to bed. But I really do need to get back to bed, guys. And I appreciate every single one of you. If you could do me at least a small favor, hitting that like button on the way out before you leave, that's extremely helpful. And it also helps this live stream after it's posted, do a little bit better for me. We don't make any money here off this, YouTube business. We're just making whatever's coming in off the ad revenue. And in all actuality, that's less than a cup of coffee every day. So yeah, whatever ads come up, I apologize, but that's just the only payback that I get from doing all this. We're not sponsored. We don't look to be sponsored at any given time unless, somebody like Redmond Salt decides to reach out to me, or Bragg's apple cider vinegar. I mean, I'd push some products, but I have a hard time when people say, stay away from processed food, but here, have my processed food. It's better for you. It's only $90 a container. Here. I mean, okay, that doesn't make sense to me. That's not what I'm about. I really do care about this community. I care about the people trying to make a better lives for themselves. And yeah, until next time, guys, I apologize if you just joined in, and I'm going to be cutting it short on you. Let's see, I'm going to really quickly go through some of the comments that just came in. Jamie T, take care, old buddy. I appreciate you, Jamie. Jamie's been a good guy. Me and him have had side conversations, and I appreciate every single one of them. We have a skin tannery here. Yes, that would be. We got a lot of taxidermy businesses here. We actually sent a ptarmigan off to a taxidermy, and we haven't gotten it back yet. But it went up to, I believe it went up to Fairbanks to get processed, or somewhere up that way, somewhere up north, and then it'll be coming down here within the next couple of months, because these people they go up home, they process all the animals they might get for taxidermy, and then they come back south. They do like grocery runs down here in Anchorage, and then they head back north. So that's pretty interesting all by itself. Love you, brother. Yeah, I do. I love you too, man. I appreciate it when you drop in on me. So a little backstory about Jamie T. He's a comedian, and he was struggling. He might still be struggling. We haven't talked in depth for a little while, but we had enough time to talk. We really started to break down some of the aspects of what he's going through, and we can relate on many things. And this is why he's been an important cog in the wheel for all of this, because, me to him, and to him like me, we both work pretty well together with just motivating each other, or just basic reminders. I'm not there to hamper on anybody like, oh, wow, you went off your diet. I can't believe you. There was a little story about his wife making some muffins, fresh muffins. Yeah, it's hard to avoid those, especially when you're trying to stay on task. Fresh chocolate chip cookies, hard to avoid them when that's one thing that you used to just gorge on and eat all the time. And it's just no different than pizza coming in the house. I have finally cured my addiction to pizza. I haven't had a cauliflower pizza in quite some time, which is great news. It's not a wreck at all. Cauliflower pizza from Costco, for instance. There's 2 different kinds Costco sells here in Alaska, and both of them worked pretty well to keep me in ketosis and keep me on track, and also curb my pizza addiction, because I have a pizza addiction of eat all the pizza. So if we ordered 3 large pizzas, about 1.5, maybe 2 of those pizzas I would have consumed. And I would have probably been upset with the kids if they finished it and I didn't get the last piece. I was that kind of guy that would get upset about stuff like that. Again, when you're overweight and you're just all screwed up, you're hormonal. You don't know what you're thinking or what you're saying at times. And it's not necessarily an excuse, because I got myself there and I was a hormonal mess. And it's an embarrassing thing to look back at, but it's eye-opening to have overcome that. And I'm still around. I mean, I'm thankful just to still be around. But yeah, you get close to a near-death experience with your eating habits and stuff like that. You might start waking up like I did, and like I said, might is a really strong word there, because yeah, I had 2 or 3 near-death experiences with my eating habits that almost killed me, and I didn't wake up until this last one because I was just done. I was done with playing the games. I had a good idea how to make it change. I just wasn't 100% sure I could figure it out. And once I figured it out, I was already making videos. So why not talk about it? Why not share the experience with everybody that needs to know that weight loss doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to take a lot of exercise. I lost 135 pounds with little to no exercise, guys. That's all I care about. I mean, I got that. That's my badge of honor there. That goal was important. I'm glad I waited until that moment, even though I stressed out all week and my scale numbers were going up and down. I had water retention going on. I had all kinds of issues going on that week until I got that moment on camera. But having that moment on camera just gives me something to point back at and say, hey, I did that. I'm proud of that moment. If there's anything I can go out of this world being proud of, that's doing these videos, that's sharing this knowledge that we have, the collective knowledge, because this knowledge doesn't come from just me. It comes from everybody you see over here. That's where a lot of my knowledge comes from. It comes from you. It comes from all these other channels that we converse back and forth with. This is what community is about. This is what's important to me, is we all need to stick together. As long as we just keep pushing, better health and stuff like that, and we start pulling people from every direction, from over there, from over here, and we just start all coming back together in one big circle and being realistic with one another, having realistic expectations, I think we'll have a much better year this year, even though I've come a long way from last year. So yeah, let's see what happens this year. Let's see if I can get back in shape. I appreciate all you guys. Yeah, this has been a great live stream. We will see you this weekend. Why isn't my mouse working? I'm tech-tarded. If you know what tech-tarded means, yeah, that's me. I'm the guy that breaks the photocopier by hitting the green button. This is why I'm not allowed to use the photocopier in most offices. All right, take care, guys. We'll see you in the next one.